I guess we can start off with telling me about a bit about what you're up to these days. What are your current projects and that sort of stuff? Anything that you can talk about?
I'm wandering around from garbage can to garbage can. I'm really not doing much. No, I'm unemployed actor guy looking for a gig. So if anybody out there has a job for me, I'm doing one thing. I'm doing is a video game for Ubisoft. And that's all I can say about it. It's very cool, it's very exciting, but that's all I can say about it.
And no release date on that video game?
I know nothing other than I'm working with Ubisoft and I'm very excited about it.
That seems to be a lot of people here, I think, seem to do a lot of voice acting for video games. Is this this is a growing field for you guys?
I certainly hope so. Video games are sort of leaning into more of the a bit of more of a film feel, and it's not just gameplay, but they're going to have sort of like the scripted story part of it, and that's very, very cool. So hopefully it's more work for us. Yeah, they're hiring real actors to do the work, which is cool.
Okay, so one of your more recent projects was The Bridge, which of course was a Canadian show that was picked up by CBS, but of course didn't last very long. So what happened with that show?
It just died. It's The Bridge was a great show, and it was really backed by CTV very, very well. They ordered season 2, and there was just a few things that kind of fell down, and they ended up having to pull the order. And yeah, it's too bad because I think we'd still be going. It was a good show.
Is it just not something that was appealing to Americans, do you think, or what do you think was the big issue there?
I don't think it lasted on CBS because it's not really a CBS show. It's a little dark. It's a little everything like that. I would have rather seen it go to like an AMC or an FX or one of the cable stations. It's a little too dark and heavy for American Big Four network. So I think that's why it didn't last on CBS. But they tried and it just didn't work.
Okay, so one other thing I wanted to ask you too is about there's this whole thing about Canadian actors having difficulty breaking through in the U.S. Is that true or is that a cliche? What's your perspective?
Oh yeah, that's a cliche. It's they'll hire the best person regardless of where you're from. All you have to do is watch the Emmys and the Oscars, and particularly the Oscars. Everybody's British or Australian. It doesn't matter. They hire talents regardless of passport. Yeah, I haven't really had any issues with it at all.
Okay, so now of course we have to talk about Battlestar Galactica. The final 5. I'm sure you've talked about this quite a bit. What was your feeling on how that whole storyline played out? Was it good, so bad? Where do you fall on the continuum?
I loved the ending of Battlestar Galactica. I absolutely loved it. I think it's so hard to end a show. You're not going to please everybody, and I think Ron Moore just wrote an incredibly beautiful piece of television and of drama. A wonderful story. I'm very happy to be one of the final 5. I'm quite thrilled. I didn't like it at the time at first, but I certainly like it now.
Okay, what about, did you follow BSG afterwards, like Caprica? Did you watch Caprica, and if so, what did you think of it?
I haven't seen Caprica. And it's not out of any ill will, it's just I simply haven't had time, and then they canceled it, and so I'm like, well, why am I going to start something that doesn't have an ending?
Well, one of the interesting things is now there's talk about this Blood and Chrome show, which I guess they produced a pilot for it. But from what I've been hearing, Sci-Fi is not. They don't plan on going ahead with it. So the thing I'm curious about is this seems to be a franchise or a series that people want more of, yet Sci-Fi just doesn't seem to want to give it to them. What do you think is the problem there?
Oh God, this is a question for Jamie Bamber. I don't understand. Battlestar Galactica is a license to print money. It's the best thing they've ever made. It put them on the map as a legitimate network, and now they're doing wrestling and Ghost Hunters. I simply don't get it. It's not a Sci-Fi channel anymore. I don't think the people at the top understood Battlestar. I don't think they got it. It wasn't a show that they liked. So they pulled the plug, they're not going to make anything more like it. Blood and Chrome, the script was fantastic. I'm sure the pilot's amazing. Somebody leaked the trailer and it had 50,000 views in a day, and then just started going viral, and Sci-Fi came out with a statement that said, we're not making this show. So they don't give Sci-Fi fans what Sci-Fi fans want, and they're the Sci-Fi channel. So explain that one to me. I simply don't get it. I think somebody's going to come along and is going to make a proper sci-fi channel. They're going to make a channel that's purely for sci-fi, and there's not going to be any WWE and none of that bullshit.
All right, so now the other side of the equation is, what do you think about stories? Should stories sort of continue forever and universes continue forever, or is there sort of artistic bookmarks that you could put on a story and say, a Battlestar Galactica was great, let's just call it a day on that, or should it continue? What do you think about that?
I like the ending, and I think it's great where it ended, and I think it should stay there. I would like to go back and sort of fill in the blanks, like we have that gap before New Caprica, and you could do a year, what happens there. You could go to different ships in the fleet and do some stories there. You could do stuff before the Cylon showed up. There's so many different things that you can do. But as far as where it ended, the chief just walking away and telling everybody he's going to Scotland is it's a pretty cool ending, and I have it in my head what he does, but I'm not sharing that with anybody.
What do you care to share that?
No, I'm not telling you. I might write a book, but I can't call it Battlestar or the Chief. It'll just be some guy wandering the wilds of northern Scotland. Yeah.
All right, last thing I'll ask you too is, I was reading somewhere that you have some sort of weird obsession with Wil Wheaton. Can you expand on that?
When Team Canada won the gold medal, I had a bet with Wil Wheaton. The loser had to wear the other guy's jersey for an entire day at a con. This is at Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle, which is an amazing con, by the way. And so the entire day, Will had to wear my Team Canada jersey. And I could not be more delighted. He wore it to dinner. He wore it everywhere. It was fantastic. It was a good day. It was a very, very good day. Yeah, no, Will is a very, very good friend of mine, and he's a hell of a guy. And we just like to stick forks in each other.
Well, now he's been on Big Bang Theory, so can he not get you on there? He seems to be pretty in with those guys, no?
They've already had a couple people from Battlestar on, so I think they've sort of played that card. But yeah, if Bill Brady called, I would be there with bells on. And yeah, it's a fantastic show. And yeah, that's a show I would love to do. That would be a lot of fun.